Hey,
Hey Mo, how you doing?
hey, Ayan, how are you? How you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah, go ahead and share your screen and give me an update on what you've been working
Yeah,
on.
sure. Can I share the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see my screen now?
Yeah.
Where is it? You can see this?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let me go first start with first thing. So the first thing I done, which is um it's wild, which is we change the shape. You remember it's supposed to be cylinder. We make the cone shape.
Yeah.
All of them has modified, all right? All of them.
And you can open all of them?
Yes, I can show
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Okay.
So this guy, let me hide this guy here, and this guy here. I can open it. Yeah, sure.
Okay, all 7 layers can open. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And is there a screw mechanism to close them back
I
together?
will work in this one here, but just I will work in this one. But the first topic here, I made this. Uh, you can see.
Yeah, back to an octahedron shape. Much better.
Yeah.
Okay. What else did you work on?
Okay. Good. This is the first thing. All right. I modified this one here because I expand this. You remember this have a sleeve layer inside?
Yeah, 3 layers
Yes,
with the spark gap.
yes. But I make one layer now. I will work for other 2 layers. So this completely redesigned completely back.
And
And
same
after
thing,
I
it had
re
all okay. And same thing, all 3 layers have to open up and screw back together.
yes, I will do that. Another thing actually here, it's what I'm trying leading to now. I want to make sure what is this?
Yeah, so you're go ahead with what you were saying and then I'll
Yeah,
give some
so
notes.
the other thing is the most important thing while it is walking, I don't want to
Yeah.
it's not hurting is
So
yeah.
yeah,
So
okay. So you see the red C-shaped electromagnets, right?
yes, I still have to work
So
on it. I have to
yeah,
extend it out.
yeah, so you have to extend them. You might have to make them much bigger and change the outer hole
Yes.
to something more simpler and make it so there's a mounting mechanism for the C-shaped electromagnets to the outer hole. So some way we can, because they're printing separately, right? So we have to find a way of connecting them together.
Okay.
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 And can you go ahead and zoom in on that real quick? So I think you might just have to get rid of your current design of the outer hole, how it slopes, and turn it into like more of a curve. I think that will free up a lot more space for you. I don't know. You'll have to whatever the remember the
Um,
simplest design is always the best design, right?
yes, absolutely.
Because those after you first thing you do is add the 3 layers and make sure the maximum shape of the octahedron.
Yes.
Then you want to make sure the red C-shaped perfectly goes over the northern hemisphere for the top and the southern hemisphere for the bottom. And
Yes.
it has to be very precise and perfect. And remember, you made the spinning mechanism, the green thing. The outer hull with the C-shaped electromagnet spins the opposite way. Okay, so
Uh,
the green mechanism spins clockwise, and the gray mechanism, the entire gray mechanism with the red C-shaped electromagnet, spins counterclockwise.
okay. All right.
Does
I
this make
mean,
sense?
yeah, it makes sense. But the point is, if you, as long as it's a free running, so this one be the
Yeah,
most
just
important topic. Yeah.
Yeah, just remember the glass syringe example where you have like a
Yes.
0.3
Yes.
millimeter separation from the holes. That
Yes.
should give enough for it to spin.
Yes. That's
Okay,
good. We are in good track so far.
yeah,
Uh,
we're almost there.
yeah,
Go
we're
ahead.
almost there. It's come pretty, honestly. It's really pretty. It's I
Can
don't check
you
anything. Uh,
yeah, the red C-shaped real quick, the red C-shaped electromagnets, how thick are those right now? The
uh,
thickness.
uh, hold on a second. Let me go.
Because
To,
the coils seem a little thin. So we want to make sure those are thick enough, and the red C-shaped should
okay,
be.
here's a point. This
Yeah.
one, it's when we finished. Okay, so I like the point is I'm trying to satisfy a lot of things. I want to satisfy the bigger size,
Yeah.
the overall size, which is a
4.6 inches.
yeah, 4.6 inches.
Max, yeah. Obviously
Yeah.
less is better,
I'm
but
trying to
that's our max
satisfy
max.
that. Okay, I'm trying to satisfy that. In meantime, I try to satisfy the thickness. So I try to get, so I don't know, but maybe if you run in longer term futures, you say, no, I have a bigger CNC, I have a bigger 3D printer. I need the thickness.
Oh no, it's the all 3D printers print the same, right? Because we're having the
Yeah.
0.6 millimeter. So
Alright.
what's the current thickness of each layer of the center capacitor, and what's the current thickness of the C-shaped electromagnet just right now?
Right
Offhand.
now is 2 millimeter.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So how about for the C-shaped electromagnet?
Everything here 2 millimeter. Everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even the C-shape, even the flat capacitors.
No, the C shape bigger, absolutely. C shape is the thickness here is too much. Hold on a second.
Oh no, that we the thicker the better, because that makes it a stronger magnet.
Yeah, this one here I can give you right now. The C shape, it's 3 millimeter.
Okay, and how thick is the coil?
The coil I do have half millimeter a wire thickness.
You're gonna have to make that 2 millimeter thickness minimum, so it can
the
print.
diameter.
Yeah, so it's just
but
gonna
you not have too much turn.
But it won't be able to print because it's too small.
Okay, it's up to you. But you can the simple thing. You can have in handmade.
I mean,
it's up to you.
I mean, like, okay, so to print, it's going to be copper, right? So that we're printing on a 0.6 millimeter nozzle. So it definitely can't be smaller than 0.6 millimeter thickness, because that's just for one rotation. And we try to do, the reason we wanted 2 or 3 is so it can do multiple rotations.
Sure.
So at minimum, I would say 2 or 3 rotations. So make it either 1.2 millimeters or 1.6 millimeters.
I can do whatever you want. So what you want?
Well, because here's the thing, right? Because the more coil windings we have, the stronger the electromagnet, right?
Yes.
But we also want to have it so it can print easily. So we have to find that happy medium. I would definitely, it's too small now. It wouldn't print right now as it is. It's 0.1 millimeter too small for even one rotation. So here's another issue we're gonna face. Okay, so imagine you're a 3D printer, right?
Yeah.
The red material is one material, and the yellow material is a separate material. These two things are going to print separately. So we need a way to combine them afterwards. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, maybe like have like the red electromagnet, there might be like a top that pops off, so you can access the stem and then you can close it back up.
Yes, good idea. Or you can print this one first, the red part first, right? And until finish the coil. So you print the red part, print the wire, the yellow part, and keep the last part not printed until the end, so you can print it.
Well, that comes into the same problem where we need mounting mechanisms for the red C-shaped electromagnet and a way to connect the two separately, right? So like have like a pin design or something.
Yes, I can do that.
So something, remember,
we can go diving in more details. All right,
but the simpler the better. We just need to get printing, right? That's our big thing. Like we need a finished design we can start printing, and that's really important.
Definitely, yes, I can do that. It's not a big deal. This one change the thickness doesn't take time.
Okay, great. So yeah, just make that, at maybe like 1.2 millimeter, maybe a little bit thicker. I would say minimum any design should be greater than 2 or 3 millimeters, unless they're really small. Then definitely make them more than 1.2 millimeter. So that's like our 4.6 inch max. Like 1.2 millimeter, nothing can be smaller than that.
Sure. No problem.
Okay, can we go back to the full design real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, you know what to do to you gotta do the outer octahedrons first. If you need to steal space, you can steal some space from those plate capacitors that you're clicked on right now.
Yeah, but
remember those, so those holes, remember, there's also going to be certain layers in the central capacitor and certain layers in the outer octahedrons have layers, have holes.
Yes.
So the second layer in the outer octahedron has holes, and then for the main one, there's 2 layers. Look in the 10-step checklist; it tells you. So
Yeah.
is there a way? These plate capacitors we're on right now. How do we connect these to the hull? Is there like some type of mounting mechanism? Because it's going to be printed separately, right?
Yeah, I mean here in that point is we can like press like a little bit press. It's like a bit, you can have it pressing a little bit press.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever's simple and easy. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's something simple and easy. Just keep
So-
in mind, as long we have this guy, just lift up and 2 inch or 3 inch, you will have investors like coming to you as a like, I don't know, like lagging you. As long as we can have that prototype, just lift 1 inch or 2 inch up in the air, you will have people come to you with million, and we can dive very deeply, and we can make really fancy things. As much as you want.
What everything we're discussing now is just so it works properly, right? So there's a few things we have to get right. We have to get the geometry right. We have to get the right spinning mechanism right.
Yes.
And we have to have the magnets centrally tuned to each other.
Yes.
So the central capacitor is a magnet, and then all these red C-shaped electromagnets are a magnet. And we have to get these tuned together. And that's partly due to the coil windings, partly due to the space apart. So that's where you're gonna have to do in those equations to make that really precise. Yes. After you do all the baseline things of just getting everything functioning properly. So did you add the new coil yet?
Where?
Remember, you finished the Rodin coil that goes on top with the dodecahedron.
No.
Did you do the bottom coil yet?
Shape, no, not yet. I will work on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm working major things. So I started with the major things.
Is the
you said to me this one is non-negotiable for that shape.
Yeah, that is very important for actually function properly. Same with the outer octahedrons. The outer octahedron, as it is now, are you going to
curve here? This okay, or I can
not really? It should be more like a normal octahedron. Like you have to match an octahedron shape. Like if you Google octahedron.
Yeah, I see. I mean, I did it like.
Are you going to fit in the other 2 layers? That
I can. Yes.
That are each 2 millimeters. Do you have to extend the diameter, or is this the max diameter?
No, 2 millimeter will be fit 2 more.
So right now it's 6 millimeter total thickness. Currently.
Yes. That's
okay, so
more than this.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so that design won't change. So I would put that in, then fix the red C-shaped so it can go over. Make sure the outer hull can spin, and then we're pretty much there. You just got to add the coil. And the outer layering.
Look, man, it's flying, man. It's fast.
So the central capacitor is attached to that too, right? It's spinning as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, and then that's all it is. It's two magnets spinning in opposite directions, centrally tuned to each other, and all of our electricity is generated from these giant capacitors. That's all this is. It's very simple. We got to make sure all the math is right, where the geometry is precise and it's spaced. What's the current diameter total right now of everything?
No, it's bigger now. We go scale it down when we finished. Let me go see here.
Okay, if we're gonna scale down, make everything over 2 millimeter thickness, regardless. So if we have to scale down, we will still be able to print no matter what.
Yes,
the coil windings, make 2 millimeters, make everything bigger than that. Make the red C-shaped electromagnets as big and thick as possible. We want these things. Okay, but they can't be thicker. Here's a very important part. They can't be thicker to extend past the octahedrons, right? So it passes from the octahedron to the plate capacitor. So it can't cover both areas. It can only be over one at a time. That's really important. Does that make sense?
Yes. One of the things actually here, you see the website here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You showed me this earlier. After you do all the final
Exactly.
touches, then we'll run through that. We'll go through the law of squares as well, if that's important for
Yes.
specific
Material.
dimensional lengths and everything. But
Yes.
like right now, we just want to get everything functional, and then we can
Yes. We
tweak the
want to
final.
specify the material for each part.
Okay. So what's the current diameter right now? The total diameter?
Still big. I want to show you something here important. I mean, I'm 2 millimeter. I barely make it up. You know?
That's perfect. That's exactly how it should look like.
Oh my God! Look, this one, the first time in our meeting, he said this perfect. My God, my God.
I was hounding because
Oh
geometry is so important.
My God.
So as long as yeah, I'm sorry I've been difficult. It's been stressful.
I know it's okay. I mean, I'm glad I reached that level. That's good boy.
Yeah.
That's
nice. The spark gaps, make sure they're equally spaced and the same thickness. Directly.
How much is this gap between here and here?
It doesn't really matter as long as they're spaced far enough to where the electric fields don't interfere with each other.
Okay.
So as long as they're 2 millimeter thick, and they're the same size and equally spaced from the center.
Is the 3 millimeter?
Oh, the 3 even better. Yeah, the thicker the better, because that's the thing that's going to generate the most heat. Because it's inside essentially a tuned magnet and a capacitor, so it's going to get hot. So that has to be really thick so it can handle the heat. It's going to be copper. So
man, I want to see this. I want to see. I'm really excited to see how this.
Yeah. So just make sure everything can mount to each other. Everything can separate so we can connect them later on. And then after you do all you're like a day away from finishing this, honestly. If you just throw it in. After you do all that, we'll color code it, and then we'll start printing. So like, we'll have 4 colors: aluminum, copper, iron, zirconium, and then we can just print them all individually really quick. Sure, we could print them in like a day or two total for like the entire.
Oh, nice. Okay. I will convert the stiff files. You need the stiff file?
So when we do go to print, I need them in STL file.
STL file, okay.
And I want you to do a couple practice prints in plastic before you send it to me to make sure it all prints properly.
Okay, I do have a printer.
Change your nozzle to a 0.6 millimeter. It's probably a 0.4 right now. So that will make sure it will all print properly for everything except iron. Iron's the only thing that's 0.8 millimeter, but everything else is 0.6 millimeter. You can get a cheap nozzle for like $2. Just make sure it's 0.6 millimeter.
I do have.
Okay. And for the iron, you want a 0.8 millimeter. Same deal. It's just slightly different. It's just more difficult to print iron because it has a ton of carbon. It really, But since you're just doing it in plastic, that won't matter. You just want it the right size.
Yeah, we want to make sure the print look
like I'll do it too. What we'll do is we'll split up the workload and we'll test out all the plastics so we can get through them quickly. And then and because I only had enough funds to make like 1 or 2 iterations right now. So we really have to be precise on everything. And I found an investor to fund us for 10 to 30 iterations in case we have to scale out to that.
You did?
We're negotiating right now. He said he'd help me out. He just wants to see us, further progress along. Which is why we have to push this to the limit, because I'm really hitting the edge of my, debt limits that I can handle.
Okay, no problem. No.
So if we could, do you think you could do those final little touches, today and tomorrow, and then send it over to me so we can start printing?
We finished the major thing. I mean, that's all that testing, make sure is nothing hitting while it's turning and all stuff.
That's the main thing. It's like making sure the red C-shaped electromagnets are in the right place and big enough, and then having the outer octahedrons with the 3 layers. The only thing you have to add for the central capacitor now is certain layers have holes, just like the plate capacitors, right? Like that's the only thing you have to add. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So, we were gonna do full dimensions right now. What is the current diameter of everything?
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me see. It's absolutely bigger than 4.6. But this good news about the investors. That's really good news.
Yeah, we just gotta show that what we can follow through with what we say we do, right? So that's why we just
Yeah.
need to push it a little bit further. And then that's just to cover our minimums, right? Like that will still be to cover your couple hours a week to finalize the design. But once we have the functional finished design, we can actually start selling this thing because it's actually working. We can start launching cube satellites and we can get bigger investors for our next project, which will be
But Ayan,
yeah.
you can't put this in YouTube, Ayan. This you give your effort for somebody for free. You can't
Yeah.
do that. You can't. Is really take the two session between me and you off. Because if this one, I'm telling you that serious, if this one work, the military come after me.
No, I looked into that. They won't classify this because it doesn't clash with any classical physics.
No,
They
no,
only
I'm saying they come to you to take that,
Oh
to
yeah.
pay you to guide this. If
This is only the beginning because we're gonna take this concept and develop a full custom capacitor metal EVA spacesuit. Because this functions, think about this. This functions both in Earth's atmosphere and the vacuum of space. So we're going to integrate this design into a full capacitor metal spacesuit so you can have your own personal spacesuit. It's only going to cost 150K, so like the price of a normal luxury car. You can have your own personal spacesuit, go into low Earth orbit, and come back again.
Wow.
And so you're going to help me design that after we do this. That's going to be way more complicated than this because we have to do life support systems, human rated. But this is the easy stuff. This is the cakewalk. We just gotta get working.
I have no problem, but just keep in mind, take that stuff out of the Chinese cannot lead you. I mean, if you post this one, you're not on it anymore.
Well, we're open sourcing everything. Just like that seemed to work well for Elon Musk for the electric cars. If you open source everything, that just spurs innovation and it can help people build on top of our ideas. Because we're probably just scratching the surface right now. There's probably much more things we're not even thinking about that can be done on top of this.
Okay,
but like as far as us as a capitalistic company, here's what we're doing. We create a functional prototype. We get investors, we secure pre-orders for the CubeSat launches, and then we use that money to develop the spacesuit. That's our logical trajectory. Okay.
All right. So now is 5.3.
Okay, so what's 4.6 divided by 5.3 right now?
So 4.6.
Oh, we also have to throw in an extra 6 millimeters for the outer layering. Do that first. What was the millimeter? 135?
Yeah, 135.
So let's add an extra, let's say 8 millimeters just to be safe. So like, okay, so currently it's like 143 millimeters with the outer layering. Okay.
So if you scale it down, the thickness become 1.67.
If everything's over 2 millimeters, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, that's reasonable because that means the every design except iron can get 3 rotations and then iron gets at least 2 rotations. So that's acceptable.
Okay.
That's so but remember the coil windings now you have to make 2 millimeters because when we scale it down it needs to be there.
Sure.
Okay.
No,
okay, so write that down. Coil windings for C-shaped electromagnets make 2 millimeters.
I did have it as long as I finish the phone call with you, I will do immediately.
Yeah, make everything bigger than 2 millimeters. C-shaped electromagnets, the red, make it way thicker than that if possible.
Absolutely.
But okay, so let me reiterate. So zoom in on that. The red C-shaped electromagnets. Go ahead and zoom in on the whole thing. Okay, stop here. So can you spin the green hole to where the blue octahedron is right in front of it? Yeah, stop right there. Okay, so when it's in its right place, it can be as thick as covering the entire diameter of the octahedron, but it can't be thicker that it goes past and influences the field of the plate capacitor. Does this make sense?
No.
Okay, so you see the red, when the red's in the right place, right? When it's over the blue and under the blue, right?
Yeah, so if we have in this
so if the red is higher up and over the blue where it's supposed to be, like in the middle of the blue, yeah, right there. Okay, that's where the red should be, like way further. So thickness wise, Yeah, probably even a little bit further. It needs to be fully over the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Yeah, like right about there. That's where it's going to be. And same for underneath. So
Yeah,
thickness wise, if you can you do an overhead shot of it?
sure.
Yeah, so it can be almost to the same, yeah, right there. So it can almost be the exact diameter of the blue octahedron, but make it slightly smaller than that, so it doesn't interfere with the fields. Because remember, in the simplest way, that blue is an electric field and the orange plate capacitor is an electric field, and it passes from field to field, and that's how it does the pulsed high voltage. So each field can't be interrupted, so there has to be just enough differential to where the fields aren't interrupted. Does this make sense? So you can make the red C shape thicker, and we want it thicker, just don't make it too thick to where it interferes with both fields. Does this make sense?
I try. I am.
Here, explain it back to me. That's probably the easiest way to do it.
I'm not gonna explain to you how I do it. So this one become this the red shape, the C shape come up to here.
Yeah. Oh, slightly above it, right? Because like remember, after we print and do the kiln, everything's going to shift a little bit. So make sure there's enough space in between.
Yes.
So you're going to have to change the outer hull or just get rid of it entirely and adapt it to fit this design better. Yes. Remember that the less parts, the better. The simpler the design, the better, because that it just makes everything easier printing.
We can go up to here, right?
Yeah. So yeah, for the top and the bottom, and then the thickness, it can be as far as the edges, but slightly.
Yeah, we can make this bigger. Too much.
Yeah, you can make it way thicker. Just don't make it thicker that it passes over the edges of the blue capacitors. Okay.
Okay.
So the current diameter is 6 millimeters of the blue capacitors right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so make it like 5 or 4 millimeters, right?
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah. Oh, maybe like 4.2, something like that. Keep it nice.
4.2 is doable.
Or yeah, well, okay, because it's going to be cut in a third, right? When we shrink everything down.
Yes.
So what's 4.2 divided by? No, it's going to lose what percentage? 30% when we shrink everything down?
0.25.
0.25. Oh, a quarter. Okay, so let's see. What would that be? That would be 3.2. So that would be, how many rotations can we get off of that? Four. Yeah. Okay, that's enough. 4 rotations is fine. Okay. Yeah. Let's set that in. And the only thing I'm seeing this the plate capacitors, you might want to scale them back further away from the central capacitor. You see how they're very close? You might want to scale those back a little bit. The orange. Yeah. You might have to push those a little bit further back from the central capacitor. Just make them slightly less.
Okay.
Okay. Because they're interfering with each other right now. And then
decent time to not interfere with each other.
Yeah, they can't. Because it's 2 separate electric fields going on, right? Yes. You have the outer electric fields that are pulsed between these orange and blues, and then you have the central electric field, which is the giant octahedron. Does this all make sense?
Yes.
Okay. It's making more and more sense. Okay, so if we can, there's 3 main things we have to change, right? We have to change the red C-shaped electromagnets with the coil windings. We have to add the holes and the layers for the outer octahedrons, and then we have to add all the coils and the outer layering, and then we're pretty much done. So could you finish those 3 things in the next day or 2 so we can start printing?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
All right.
Okay, because I want to start printing on Monday. That's our goal.
I'm very excited.
Okay.
It's very excited. It's coming.
We're so close. We're so close.
All right, I'm glad you have it.
All right. Any last minute questions you have for me at this point?
No, so far I will upgrade you, and definitely I give you snapshots where I am, what I finished.
Okay, great. Yeah, just make sure that.
I like to give you like update even with the snapshots to know where I am, what I finished, and so on.
Yeah, and remember in case you forgot, the blue capacitors also spin independently each. In case you
Okay, how
forgot
you
that.
do that? How we can
Just
control it?
like the other two spinning mechanisms that you see where they're connected, they just spin in that frame.
Okay.
No, see how they each so they'll each spin independently. You see that?
Okay.
So like a top, right?
Yeah, we have in here.
Yeah,
No.
just what it needs like a point. Oh, okay. So since we're scaling everything down, make it like a 0.6 millimeter differential, because when we scale everything down, it will go to a 0.3 millimeter differential.
Okay. All
Same
right.
with all
I'll
the other
try.
spinning mechanisms.
I'll try to do that.
Okay, and you can also I would see how close it is to the orange capacitors. So you could probably shrink the orange capacitors on the side, yeah, from there,
Yeah.
and in relation to how close they are to the blue. So you could shrink it a little bit on both sides, just a little bit.
Okay. I can
Just enough to where it makes a difference, right?
Okay. Definitely.
And then is there a mounting point for the central capacitor to this green frame? So that the outer green layer, is there a mounting point to the center green? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, hold on a second. What are you talking about here?
Okay, so zoom in. So the outermost layer of the central capacitor, how is it mounted to the rest of the frame? No, in the center, the exact center.
In the center?
Yeah.
This
how is that mounted?
How is this like a glue together?
Yeah, is it like a screw mechanism?
How's it all
connected?
I will do something different, but I have so many ways. I will let you know. Is
Okay,
this one, if you like to have it off and on, or just
yeah, they all need, because they're all printed separately, and then we're
I
connecting
understand,
them
but
like
I can have them latched together or attached together, but you not take it out again.
It would be good if we could take them out again, because we're once we print it, we're going to experiment with different powder and piezoelectric properties. So
Okay, just keep in
remember
mind
all
that
the layers. Yeah, all the layers with holes.
It's not gonna give me like that much room to do a lot of mechanism with threads.
Yeah, just keep it simple, like a simple screw mechanism to where we can just screw it together.
I can try that. Okay.
Yeah, like, because remember, it only needs to be like the screw mechanism can just be like a little divot, right? So it's just like a little divot it fits in. It's just like 1.2 millimeter thick or whatever. So like just the exact middle for each layer. It shouldn't be hard, right? And just maintain the octahedron shape. That's so important.
Okay.
The closer to that design, the better. It's starting to look good. We're getting very close. It's just small little tweaks, and then those three big things we need to get done in the next day or so.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Any final questions for me? You want to review real quick what you're gonna do?
I'm really happy to find the investors for the beginning, and definitely I will finish the major thing we write it down today, and team to me, and we're in good shape soon.
Okay, great. Just review real quick what you're going to do in the next day or so. So we just cover all the bases.
First thing, actually, I will do the C shape. We have make sure the C shape over the outer trahedron. Right. We have the radial coil, our star shape coil. We have to make it. I have to make sure the thickness. The thickness of the nozzle brent should be 0.6 millimeter or bigger. We can.
Yeah, that's for your 3D printer. Yeah.
Yeah, for 3D printer.
But every design is over 2 millimeters.
And the outer hidden, we have 3 layers instead 1 layer here, the external one.
Yeah, and with a spark gap as well, just like the center one. Yeah, but with the outer ones, the second layer has holes. Just like the plate capacitors, where it's like Swiss cheese.
Okay,
that's for the outer octahedron. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the central octahedron also has holes, but I sent you. It's in the checklist. The certain layers have holes, certain don't. But the easiest one to do right now is the outer octahedron, and then I'll give you notes on that.
Okay.
Because it's the second layer. So you have the outer blue, you have the second with holes, and then you have the inner one with a spark gap.
And
Makes sense?
yes, and we increment the size.
And yeah, you're gonna make the coil windings 2 millimeter thickness.
Yes. From
Excellent.
you said
And try to get as many windings as you can. The more windings, the better.
so the minimum 1.2 millimeter is okay.
After it scales down, remember, after it scales down. So before it scales down, it's well, whatever 2 millimeters, whatever we agreed on. Because after it scales down, it will be at like 1.6. Right?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. I will try to go with 2, and when expanded and make it bigger, maybe take more coils. So more.
Yeah, we'll find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
And then everything else.
And it's not an issue. Even we can spend the time to make like winding by hand with wiring. It's not that time consuming.
Yeah, the simpler the design, the easier. That's my always take. Like if we can print everything on the printer, that's our ideal.
I mean, like while we do like a dry run, and we found out we can expand it, so we give some room for ourselves.
Yeah, because our whole thing is why we're doing it on the printer, right? So we can mass manufacture these really quick, and in the early stages, we can rapidly prototype, right? We can make a new prototype every week once we have the initial functional design done.
And the shape you should have a cut in it so we can attach while it's printed out.
Yeah, just have like the top have like a pin so it can insert into it. Something simple, you know, something. And make sure the pin thickness is, you know, thicker than 2 millimeters, obviously.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, we're getting so close. Okay. Right. Yeah, you think you can get all those things done in the next day or two?
Yeah, I think we are finished the major things. I mean,
yeah. And then we just throw on the coils with the dodecahedron and then the outer layering, and then we're done.
Yep, we're good. We'll be good shape.
Excellent. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, I'm glad you're happy. Start you smile here.
Yeah, we're so close. Let's just get that final barrier. We're almost there.
All right. No, all right.
Thanks. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.